Why do the strongest men change their lives without telling anyone? It's a question that seems simple on the surface, but if you really think about it, it carries a deeper truth, one that most people overlook. In a world where everything is shared, posted, announced, and validated by others, there's something unusual, almost mysterious, about the person who quietly disappears, works on themselves, and comes back completely transformed. No announcement, no warning, no noise. Just results. And here's the part most people don't realize. Real transformation is almost always silent, not because it has to be, but because it works better that way. When someone constantly talks about what they're about to do, they release the pressure to actually do it. They get a small sense of satisfaction just from speaking. But the strongest individuals, they move differently. They understand that growth is not a performance, it's a process. So instead of announcing their plans, they build in silence. And today, we're going to break down 7 things you need to quietly remove from your life if you truly want to transform. Not for attention, not for applause, but for yourself. Let's begin. The first thing you need to eliminate is this habit most people don't even question: checking your phone the moment you wake up. Think about it. Before your mind has even fully woken up, before you've had a single independent thought, you're already consuming other people's lives, opinions, and problems. Notifications, messages, news, social media. It's like handing over control of your mental space before you've even had a chance to claim it. Those first few moments of your day are powerful. They set the tone for everything that follows. Imagine 2 different mornings. In the first, you wake up and immediately scroll. You see messages that demand your attention, posts that trigger comparison, headlines that create stress. Within minutes, your mind is scattered. In the second, you wake up and sit in silence. Maybe you stretch, maybe you breathe deeply, maybe you think about what you want your day to look like. There's no rush, no noise, just clarity. Which version do you think leads to a stronger, more focused day? The difference is not small, it's massive. So here's a simple exercise. For the next 7 days, don't touch your phone for the first 30 minutes after waking up. No excuses. Use that time for yourself. Think, plan, reflect. You'll be surprised how quickly your mindset begins to shift. Now, the second thing you need to eliminate is the fear of solitude. A lot of people are uncomfortable being alone. Not because they're weak, but because they've never truly practiced it. They associate being alone with being lonely, but those are not the same thing. Loneliness is feeling empty in the presence of others. Solitude is feeling full in the presence of yourself. There's a difference. When you learn to spend time alone, really alone, you start to hear your own thoughts more clearly. You begin to understand what you actually want, not what others expect of you. You develop independence, confidence, and a sense of inner stability that cannot be easily shaken. Start small. Go out to eat alone without distracting yourself with your phone. Take a walk without headphones. Sit quietly for a few minutes each day and just observe your thoughts. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. That's normal. But over time, that discomfort turns into clarity, and that clarity becomes power. The third thing you must stop doing is explaining your decisions to everyone. This one is difficult, especially if you're used to seeking approval. But here's the truth: not everyone needs to understand your path. You don't need to justify your goals, your choices, or your direction in life to people who are not living it. When you constantly explain yourself, you're often doing it in hopes of being validated. But validation is not the same as alignment. Someone can approve of your choices and still not understand your journey. And more importantly, they don't have to. Strong individuals make decisions based on their values, not on the opinions of others. They listen, they consider, but they don't feel the need to convince everyone. Sometimes silence is the strongest answer. Instead of explaining why you're changing, why you're focusing, why you're stepping back, just do it. Let people wonder. Let them guess. Let your actions speak over time. The fourth thing you need to eliminate is over-apologizing. There's a difference between being respectful and shrinking yourself. Many people apologize for things that don't require an apology. They say sorry for having an opinion, sorry for setting boundaries, sorry for taking up space. But think about what that does over time. It slowly conditions you to believe that your presence is an inconvenience, that your voice needs to be softened, that your standards are too much. And that's not true. You don't need to apologize for being focused. You don't need to apologize for saying no. You don't need to apologize for choosing yourself. Of course, if you make a mistake, own it. Apologize sincerely. But don't apologize for existing confidently. Here's a simple reflection. Pay attention to how often you say sorry in a day. Then ask yourself, was it actually necessary, or was it a habit? Breaking this pattern will change how you carry yourself. The fifth thing you need to eliminate is gossip. It seems harmless on the surface. Just conversations, just opinions, just sharing what you've heard. But in reality, gossip drains your focus. Every moment spent discussing someone else's life is a moment not spent improving your own. And more importantly, it shapes your mindset. When you constantly focus on what others are doing, who failed, who succeeded, who made mistakes, you begin to live in reaction instead of intention. Highly focused individuals rarely gossip, not because they think they're better, but because they're busy building something meaningful. Next time you find yourself in a conversation that turns into gossip, try this. Either redirect it to something productive or step away quietly. You don't need to announce it, just remove yourself. Over time, people will notice the shift. The sixth thing you must stop doing is trying to win every argument. Not every disagreement is worth your energy. Some arguments are not about truth, they're about ego. And when you engage in every single one, you drain yourself mentally and emotionally. You spend time proving points that don't actually move your life forward. Think about how many arguments you've had that changed nothing. The other person didn't change. You didn't gain anything. You just lost time and energy. Strong individuals learn to choose their battles carefully. Sometimes, the most powerful move is to say nothing at all. Not because you don't have a response, but because you understand that your peace is more valuable than being right. Next time you feel the urge to argue, pause for a moment and ask yourself, does this matter in the long run? If the answer is no, let it go. That decision alone can save you a lot of unnecessary stress. And finally, the seventh thing you need to eliminate is the need for your family's approval to be happy. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Family is important, their opinions matter, their support can mean everything. But at the end of the day, your life is still yours. There comes a point where you have to make decisions based on your own values, your own goals, and your own vision for your future, even if it doesn't align with what others expect. Respect your family, listen to them, learn from them. But don't lose yourself trying to fit into a version of life that doesn't feel right to you. Because if you do, you might gain approval, but lose fulfillment. And that's not a fair trade. Instead, focus on building a life that makes sense to you. Over time, your consistency and results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. When you look at all of these together, a pattern begins to emerge. Real transformation is not loud. It doesn't rely on announcements, validation, or constant external input. It's quiet. It's consistent. It's built through small, intentional changes repeated daily. Think of it like building something in the dark. There's no audience, no applause, no recognition. Just effort, day after day. And at some point, without warning, the results begin to show. People notice the difference, not because you told them, but because it's visible. Your focus is sharper. Your energy is different. Your presence feels stronger. And that's when the real transformation becomes undeniable. Here's the truth most people miss. Real change doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself. You don't need to talk about your growth. You don't need to convince anyone that you're improving. Just do the work. Quietly, consistently. And when the time comes, your results will introduce the new version of you, without you having to say a single word. So take a moment right now and reflect. Which of these habits are you still holding on to? Which ones are you ready to let go of silently? Because that's where it starts. Not with a post, not with an announcement, but with a decision. A quiet one. If this resonated with you, type silent in the comments and continue your journey with intention, discipline, and focus. Your transformation doesn't need noise. It just needs you.